Jussie Smollett was a hoax trailblazer in at least one important way. He set a standard for production quality. Sure, hiring his Nigerian friends to play the role of powder in a MAGA hat created some plot holes, but hey, you work with the budget you have, not the budget you want. The point is, he tried. He tried to go beyond just the outlandish, unverifiable claim, or the usual harmless handwritten note, or the typical swastika carefully sprayed on car windows, courteously avoiding the paint and other more expensive areas. Ooh, I was attacked by a Nazi who wanted to get his message across without making me go through the trouble of visiting a body shop. How weirdly nice of him, but still, he's scary, so please support my GoFundMe. These days, that's just not enough. You gotta shed a little blood and sweat to up the believability. You gotta be willing to scar yourself, backwards if necessary. You gotta become an actress to get the event on video. You gotta burn your own damn house down, if that's what it takes. You need production value. You need theatrics. You need to fake in ways that have never been faked before. Take Neil Armstrong's one small step into a new frontier of hoaxery. There's a case out of Los Angeles County this week that's taking several of those steps in ways we haven't seen before. Not just what was hoaxed, but who hoaxed it, and the why is still not at all clear. Last Wednesday, LA County Sheriff's Deputy trainee Angel Reynosa radioed in from the parking lot outside the sheriff's office in Lancaster, claiming to have taken gunshots, possibly from a neighboring apartment complex.
Take a shot from the north of the Lancaster helipad. See him here in the right shoulder. They might have got there, but from the apartment complex to the north, they got 2 shots go out.
Police rushed to aid Reynosa, who was immediately transported to a hospital. It was originally reported that he had taken fire that ricocheted off the armor in his vest, grazing his shoulder on deflection, though his injuries were apparently minor. And police raided that nearby apartment building, attempting to locate and detain this mystery shooter. But they neither identified nor detained a suspect. As it turns out, this is a government-subsidized facility that houses people with mental health problems. They did recover a pellet gun from one of the apartments, however, so they sent both the pellet gun and the deputy's vest, which apparently showed damage consistent with a gunshot, to a crime lab for forensics testing.
Think about what happened here today. A sniper took out one of our deputies. And the only reason that deputy is alive is because he had his vest on.
Not quite. There is at least one other reason he's alive. Because none of this ever even happened at all. Shocking, I know. He was not, in fact, the victim of the world's most skilled pellet marksman somehow lobbing around with a 50-yard range from his sniper's nest at distance like some Rookie of the Year miracle floater. Investigators immediately started asking those same questions, and the investigation yielded still more. When Reynosa radioed in claiming to have been shot, there were no other 911 calls from anyone else in the area reporting gunfire. In fact, examination of the parking lot showed no evidence of any bullet or ballistics damage at all. And that reported hole in his uniform, noticeably large, far too large for any normal round. Reynosa was very calm and collected on his call and in his initial report, far more calm than anyone would expect from a man just shot and possibly still under fire. Without any evidence or reason to believe Reynosa's story, the investigation turned to the deputy trainee himself, who apparently cracked upon interrogation. He admitted to making up the whole story and to cutting those holes in his uniform himself with a knife.
Angel Reynosa admitted that he was not shot at from the apartment complex area, as he previously claimed. He also told investigators that he had caused the holes in his uniform shirt by cutting it with a knife. There was no sniper, no shots fired, and no gunshot injury sustained to his shoulder. Completely fabricated.
You would think the difference between a bullet hit and a knife cut would be immediately obvious, and we wouldn't have to go through establishing a perimeter and raiding homes and redirecting traffic and just overall burdening everybody in response. But I get it. There's protocol. You have to treat a shooter threat seriously. This is the deputy trainee's fault, not the LA Sheriff Department's. As far as justice in this matter, the Sheriff's Department is firing Reynosa immediately, and his case is being referred to the District Attorney's Office for possible prosecution on false reporting of an emergency, among other potential charges. So why'd he do it? unclear, at least as far as the official investigation is concerned at present.
Reynosa failed to provide information regarding his motivation for this act.
But the mayor of Lancaster does say the deputy had been struggling during his first year in the field, a probationary training period that all deputies must complete. He was not advancing through the training at an adequate pace. There had been a lot of attention on him for apparent poor performance, and the deputy trainee was scheduled to be transferred away from the Lancaster station, a move the mayor believes the deputy trainee was unhappy with. Exactly how faking getting shot resolves that issue, I have no idea. Even if he were to leave the department entirely, it's not like he can retire and cash out. He's a trainee in a probationary period. And regardless of whatever it is that he hoped to gain, how he expected knife cuts to be credible bullet damage, I have no idea. If this is your plan, why not just shoot the uniform and the vest beforehand to make the damage believable? We just don't know the answers to these why questions, so your guess is as good as mine. Maybe we'll get some more information soon. And of course, there is one eternal, universal truth to all of these hoaxes. There is no evidence that anything in this particular case was politically motivated, but somehow, some way, it still contains a lesson to support a leftist political narrative. I was reading Salon's coverage of this story because, hey, why not? It's my preferred form of masochism over cutting holes in my shirt, and the latter half of their article reads as so. While Reynosa's story appears to have been a hoax, it's actually an admitted hoax, but hey, why get lost in the weeds? There have been several shootings of police officers in the United States in the past month, including Harris County and Odessa, Texas, Southern Missouri, Philadelphia, and Wheeling, Illinois. Let us not forget that loose gun control laws have long imperiled the lives of police officers, which is why cops are calling for stronger regulations on concealed carry, so-called assault weapons, a felony firearm conviction registry, waiting periods for purchase, closing the so-called gun show loophole, which isn't a thing, and the prohibition of armor-piercing ammunition. You know, that dangerous ammunition that wasn't used against the cop in this case, that you need a background check to buy in California anyway, one of the most heavily gun-regulated states in the country, a state with some form of all of the previously listed policy prescriptions, in fact. The more logical response would be a ban on those assault pellet guns. Nobody needs to mow down 30 squirrels, and after all, there was an actual pellet gun tangentially involved here. This case may have been a hoax, but no, but this case was a hoax, and therefore there are no broader implications for public policy, only cultural implications about waiting for the evidence prior to believing claims and prioritizing the facts over the narrative. The gun in this case was imaginary, and in that context, there is nothing to regulate, although if there ever was a state to try to regulate imaginary guns, it would be California, so maybe I shouldn't speak so soon. A crackdown on neighborhood kids playing cops and robbers, the final common sense step toward a utopia free from senseless gun violence, even the imaginary kind that nearly hypothetically claimed this brave deputy trainee's life. Thanks as always for listening and for supporting this channel always. Appreciate that thoughtful discussion down below, and especially over on Twitter, that is at ML Christiansen. You're always welcome to coming out and chat in my live streams. Those are linked down in the description. Looking forward to it. Goodbye.